think we'll start. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remove any hats you have on. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record reflect that Mark and Beth are both missing this evening. Principal's report. Who would like to go first?
Not much going on at the Franklin. We did meet though with the teachers, and Mrs. Terry was taking charge of our I Love to Read in February. I believe our theme is Everybody Reads. And our 4th grade is going to be making a winter day trip to the Laurentian coming up soon.
Oh, but it's not this week.
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you.
The senior high second semester started today, so all students have new classes, new schedules. I think we're off to a great start. Everything went very well. Snow Week is January 28th through February 1st. We are finalizing plans now. Should have some more information soon. The only other report I have is from Kathy Larson and the Student Council. They just completed a blood drive. It was very successful. They met 125% of their goal. They collected 30 units of blood and they had 19 new donors. And so they were told that there were 120 potential lives saved as a result of their efforts. So we're very proud of the Student Council and their hard work every year. And that's it.
Thank you. Anything else?
Pretty quiet at the Gilbert campus as well. Semester 2 started today, new schedules for the kids. It's usually a time of chaos. It went very smooth today. Snow Week is next week. Our Gilbert campus will have dress-up days all together to help those poor teachers that work in both buildings. We never know what to wear. I Love to Read Month is almost ready to go. Lori Oates is heading that up on our campus. And the 6th grade went skiing on Friday and had a fantastic time at Giants Ridge. The 5th and 6th grade will go again together in March. So.
Good, thank you.
Was it pretty windy for them?
I don't think the wind had really kicked in yet. They were very snowy when they came back. It snowed all day on Friday, but they had a great time.
Good. Okay. Well, we don't have a student rep tonight, so moving on. Visitor input. Anyone who is not on the agenda who would like to address the board at this time, please raise your hand or just stand up and say your name. Okay. Okay, thank you. Moving on. Agenda changes and deletions.
We do have some additions to the agenda. 8.2, acceptance of grants. And when we get to that, I'll let you know what the grants are. 9.4, Ed Thompson, approved lane change from BA to BA plus 10. And 9.5, Mark Kelly, approved locker room supervision. That's all.
Okay. For Ed Thompson, that was a BA to
BA to a BA plus 10.
Plus 10, okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, approve the minutes of the organizational meeting and the regular meeting of January 8th.
So moved.
Support.
A motion and a second. Any discussion or changes that you can see? Hearing none. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Business office. Approve the treasurer's report. 8.1. Leon?
I so moved.
I'm sorry.
It's Mona.
I'm sorry, Mona. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
New people say. Okay.
I went through the bills for the month of January, second check writing, and we had total disbursements of $75,535.72. I move that we approve the report.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to add one thing regarding this.
Yes.
I want it noted that it is an absolute pleasure to deal with both Andrea and Candace in that business office. When you walk in, they They've got their information together, they're ready to go, and they're very helpful. And I'd like that reflected in the minutes, that how much I appreciate the effort they put into this. This is definitely a reflection of their work.
Okay, thank you. Let's pass that on. Okay, any other comments?
I have kudos for that too, because just before I even got on board, I had questions and they answered them very professionally.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and 8.2, grants acceptance.
We have 2 grants that we recently received. Cheryl Arrow had applied for a grant from Lowe's, and she received a $3,000 grant, which is to be used for the purchase of high school media center furniture. And then Sheena and Becky applied for a grant through B105 radio station, and they received a $400 grant that's to be used by the Franklin Student Council and the NHS to make blankets, is it? Do you want to share anything about that grant, anything more? What are you going to do with the blankets?
Our plan is to donate them within the school to families or children that we see are needy, and also within the community.
It was $400.
And the one for Lowe's was how much?
$3,000.
3,000.
So the board needs to accept those.
I move that we accept the grants.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Second. We need to thank the people who wrote the
Yes.
grants also.
Yes, very much so. Good job.
The B105 or whatever it is, they have nothing to gain by supporting a school. We don't advertise there. They don't get any business from us of any sort. So I think it's really neat that they did recognize a school project.
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.0 personnel. 9.1 approve the appointment to the IRYA board, the Iron Range Youth in Action Board, to appoint Mona Putzel to that position.
Hattie was our
Patty
former
was
rep,
it? Yeah.
and we talked about this previously, but the board never did officially appoint Mona, so this is just the board taking official action.
So moved.
Support.
With motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We know you do a good job. 9.2, approve the paraprofessional appointment of Wendy Zazadny. We have a handout.
It's 6
on the
hours
board.
per week at the Franklin, he has $12.32 per hour.
I'll move.
Support. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Is she a professional?
She's
Already
a-
on board?
She's already on board.
This is just additional.
Lynn, you can answer that.
This is for our early childhood special education program. She's an aide in the classroom 2 days a week. She also is an aide 2 hours a week in a program in Gilbert.
Okay, so it's basically just additional to what she.
Additional time.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.3, approve the semester 2 study hall assignments. You have got 7 of them here. Chris Chad for period 1, Deborah Custer for period 2, Keith Johnson period 3, Tara Peschel for period 4, Kathy Larson for period 5, Jill Clennon for period 6, and Kevin Burrett for period 7. Rate of pay is $12 an hour. You want to take these all together, individually, or?
Together.
Together? Okay, need a motion to this?
Also move.
Okay,
Support.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.4, Ed Thompson. Any change from BA to BA plus 10. And by the master contract, we don't have any other paperwork on it.
No, you typically don't
Oh,
receive any other paperwork,
okay.
but they can move lanes with
They can
every
move
10
lanes.
graduate credits
Yeah.
that they earn.
Okay, we need a motion to accept this.
I'll move.
And I'll support.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Good to see people still moving up.
Yes.
That's good to see. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.5, Mark Kelly Locker Rooms Supervision.
This is for
assignment.
semester 2. This is locker room supervision at the junior high, and the rate of pay is $247.50 per week.
Okay. A motion and a second.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, elementary reading curriculum presentation. I think we have a few people that want to talk to us. Okay?
The
I'll start.
revised quote at the table.
My name is Crystal Scuffy.
You should go
I
make copies
am
of
one
that.
of our reading curriculum members here. And I guess I'm going to start with a little bit as to some of the points as to why we chose our Reading Wonders is the name of the program. And this is going to be a K-5 program. The 6th grade is going to go with what the junior high is choosing. So when junior high comes, remember that 6th grade chose them. So this Reading Wonders is newly released just this month. The piloted program was done by Moose Lake for those around here. Reading Wonders is built on a Common Core, so it's resulted in higher rigor. So some of the lessons that used to be 4th grade are now in 3rd grade. Each lesson indicated for objectives is letting us know which national standard is being done. There are 2 books, so the reading and writing workshop is what needs to be taught. So on there is a key, and then the next book is our literature anthology, and those are what comes next. So in order to have the keys, you need to open your literature. So the keys are our whole group instruction. You have vocabulary cards, interactive read-alouds, levered workstations, and those are writing, social studies, phonics, and those are all part of our balanced literacy approach. It also comes with some leveled readers. 50% of those are fiction, 50% are nonfiction, so there's a nice split. Those are designed for scaffolding on ideas, the ability to level up when successful, and those also have daily writing because it's very important to read and write every day. Assessments are done weekly and after each unit, which are going to coincide with our results on our STAR program that we're doing, allowing for checks of proficiency on our standards. Another big option that we liked is it's both digital and print, so everything that we are seeing within our books, the children can also see up on our interactive whiteboards. They can see on the iPads. There's different programs that can be done with spelling and grammar, and some of the phonics that can be done within here that we can also have for parents if they have the technology available. Now, it's not going to necessarily be an assignment that would be done at home, but it's additional work that we can put as a link on our website. And I know that as a school we're trying to move to more technology-based. So that was a big piece that we liked, that everything that is offered and seen in our book, you can also see on iPads as well. The curriculum has already been mapped for the Minnesota standards in reading. They also went along and wanted to see what standards were done for science and social studies. And they were pleasantly surprised what was done for science and social studies. It provides good literature with well-known authors, so that was a big point for us, that if a student likes what has been done within the story, they're going to want to go and explore the library and find a book that is by that author. And there was an ability to communicate with parents online with the weekly objectives that are being taught. There's parent letters that can be sent to them through email. There are letters that can be printed out that we can send home with those parents that don't have emails to say these are the objectives that are being taught. So it's much more user-friendly for the staff, it's user-friendly for the students who can interact with the iPads, for parents at home, and for those that don't have the technology, it's all right here that we can print it out in the paper copy as well. So we're really excited. It looks like a great program, and we want to get going on it this next year. So that was the reading portion. We also have spelling that we looked at as well.
Did you have any questions
That I can answer on that?
well for our team regarding the
Process.
reading?
Like I say, I do have a link that you can also look up Reading Wonders. They do have a website if you want to explore it a little bit more, but there's a link that goes through and it shows all the different portions of the literacy, if you want.
Was this the only plan that you looked at through McGraw-Hill, Reading Wonders, or was there someone else in contention with this, or?
Throughout the years that we've been looking, we've looked at a couple different publishers, but this is the one that we have chosen on.
And this one best fits our school with what we
Yes.
have, what we need, everything for the future, and it'll carry over?
Yes.
And we looked at different systems. We looked at guided reading system as well, and even though it's a good fit for some schools, we just didn't feel it was complete enough for us to be able to work well for what we do.
Okay.
So there was another even whole system that we were looking at.
Okay.
If the 6th grade and up use a different program, will there be any issues for the students transferring from 5th grade to 6th grade with concepts they're missing or things like that?
There shouldn't be no,
Okay.
because like everything is based now on these Common Core standards that they have to know and they have to have mastered before they go on to the 6th grade. And I think that was what we've been working on is mapping these standards to make sure. So now that this company has everything set in there, and that's something that we need to ensure that we're doing too, and it's just raised the rigor, and you can really see it in the samples that we have, how much more in-depth it is and how much more it makes them think, that I think these kids are going to be much more prepared for the next grade that they're going to go on to.
Is there such a thing as a curriculum that goes, instead of just being K6, it goes K8? Did you see anything like that?
I don't think we did, no.
Okay.
I think most of the ones that we found were all K6.
And I'm sure companies go K6 and then they have another portion of it that goes beyond that, but we weren't focused on beyond 6th grade because we were looking for K5 at the time, so. And it was 2 different committees meeting, so how do you,
Yeah.
you know.
I see you spent 3 years studying this, and I'm sure you put a considerable amount of time and effort into it, and I really appreciate that. And one point you really made here is that you strongly support this for the students, and I believe that you made a very good decision on that. And also that you did compare other types, and you weighed out your decision, and that's the right one. I guess one other question, maybe, did you compare costs, with the ballpark figure for costs and on the selection that you chose?
When we went down to what you looked at for, if you looked at guided reading, which is a whole different aspect, then you had to start looking at, if we got guided reading, then we still had to buy a whole set of a library, a guide, like different, they have leveled readers. So then we had to decide where are we going to put a room to house all those readers. And then it was, so we did consider that, and it was like the logistically where everything was going to go. So like I say, each aspect of each company had different pros and cons of where it was going to go.
I can speak to that too a little bit, because when we were coming down to that, getting that final quote, we were very conservative because we knew things were very expensive, and the representative was very helpful in working that with us. But a lot of the pieces that, because they are available for use on our smart boards, we were able to not have that expense of purchasing. Like, I think it was kindergarten, the big books. Very, very expensive through the company, so that was something that's not in there that we thought they can do electronically without. So we were really conservative. It's very much money, I realize that, but we really were cutting every piece that we could to get the number down as low as possible.
Well, thanks for a job well done.
All right, and I'm Melissa Laudiger, and along with this reading program, we would like you to approve, I don't know, should I leave one for Mark?
Mark and Beth.
We will send them.
Okay. The Words Their Way spelling program as well. The curriculum does come with a spelling program, but the first grade and myself have been piloting Words Their Way word study for phonics and vocabulary for this year. I have, in the 4th grade, run a regular spelling program where everybody is using the same spelling words, and you have some high kids who are ready to be challenged, and you have some lower kids who need more support in another realm. And what ends up happening is sometimes teachers get so overwhelmed with what they're running in the classroom, and it gets left behind to really sit down and really modify. And this spelling program helps us modify the technique for the kids, or the skill level for the kids. So I'll just read what I have here anyway. The purpose of this program is twofold. First, students develop a general knowledge of English spelling. They learn how to examine words through active exploration using a hands-on manipulative approach. Students also discover generalizations about spelling instead of just spelling rules. They learn regularities, patterns, and conventions of English orthography needed to read and spell. Secondly, word study increases students' specific knowledge of words. Specific knowledge relates to the spelling and meaning of individual words. Students work individually with partners and in small groups. Oops, I knew I was going to do that. To encourage cooperative learning and individual responsibility. So, if you look at your packet, I created a packet of where kids in my class last week, what spelling words they were working on. I have group 1 working on within word patterns sort 8, and as you can see in the 4th grade, some kids are working on the short and long vowel I sound with the magic E. Okay, so that's what Beth would be working on for the week. She would be looking at how to sort those words and looking for patterns on how to make spelling easier for her. And then throughout the week, we might do some activities that create opportunities for them to go searching words that would not be in their spelling list but would fit the pattern that they are working with. And then if you look at Keith is working within word pattern sort 26, and he's working on my brain is not biggie. The R controlled E. So E is being influenced by R in his patterns. Working with ear, spelled E-A-R, ear, spelled E-E-R, and spelled E-A-R. So they're looking at those general patterns, and when they come upon the words that maybe are not on their list, they'll be more willing to attack those words. So they'll be sorting them out. And then if you look at the oddball, that's not within system. So it might have the same sound, however it's not spelled generally like ER. You might have an AR sound that says or whatever. So they'll have an oddball, like there. it doesn't say there, it's there. So it's still spelled with an ER, but it's an oddball because it doesn't fit the pattern or the sort. And then if you look at Leon, he is in syllables sort 9, and he's working on base words and adding S, ED, and ING in the pattern that plays with that vowel Y on what you do. Do you change the Y to I and add ES, or do you just add S to those that are influenced with the vowel and Y? So he's working on that type of spelling. And then the higher level spelling is the next page, sort 24, where Mary would be working on the R-influenced A in accented syllables. So she's looking at 2 syllables, garden, and what sort does that fall under? Well, it's the R falls into the first syllable. And then you have the long A as an A-I-R, we'll say air, and you can also spell it A-R-E, air. So we're working on those higher level words that will help them be able to read and spell, I guess, easier. And I know a lot of districts around the area have gone to this type of spelling just for the fact that, number one, you are differentiating for your groups. And once you get going into it, it's real easy, and the kids get into it, and they can almost run stations on their own. The only day they would not run on their own is like on a Monday and a Tuesday. For me, I have a 2-day, I only have a half an hour per day that I work with each group, and I sit down and I as the teacher, explain to them what their sorts entail in case they had any questions. And then we talk about words they don't know, and we define them for them. But I've had great success. Becky, I don't know if you want to speak to first grade. I know the comment that sticks out in my mind is that when you guys were working with the RIGS program, this was the piece missing with the RIGS program that made sense to you as you continued through the process of Words That Way. So
very much. So when we started the school year piloting this Words That Way program, it was a challenge to not be using the phonogram cards, to not be teaching those letter sound combinations to the students. It was a real challenge. As we got going in the spelling, they're popping up in our spelling as the kids are learning them. And we also have, as a reading curriculum, we discussed it quite a bit and decided that there was a lot of value in the sounds on the phonograms and teaching the kids the phonograms, not necessarily the markings and the spelling rules and the things that we've heard so many people discuss over the years, but the actual sounds. And so we are back in teaching those sounds. And what I'm starting to see now with my first graders is those sounds are starting to pop up in their different spelling sorts that they're doing. And, oh, we know this one. This is R, the R of car. And they're able to apply it across the board. And so we have seen the value in still teaching those sounds. This spelling was very similar to a lot of the spelling programs that we saw out there, where the kids were learning the rules and the generalizations and putting a lot of thought into what they're doing. I think one of the most exciting things for me is when we get a new sorts on Monday, to watch the different groups of kids talking about spelling and talking about the rules and being able to explain what they're doing, putting that thought process into it. It's not just that rote memorization of words and spitting it back out again. They're actually thinking about what they're doing.
Anyone else? Well, thank you. It looks like you put a lot of work into this over 3 years, and I think you've thought it out very, very well.
Is the spelling also K-5?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So the costs we see for the spelling program are K-5?
Yes. There is one manual and 3 small booklets that go to each of the teachers. There are no consumables.
Okay.
There's some work involved. They create the sorts as they start. But that's all they need to work with.
Certainly reasonable compared to reading.
Yes, definitely. What's the board's pleasure at this time?
Well, I had recommended that we not approve this, not that we won't in the future, but I think it might be a good idea until we go through the budgeting process, and we would include this as part of our total budget. And at that time, then the board would have a better idea as to where our entire budget sits for 2013-14. So I would recommend that we just delay it until then. We should have our first budgeting meeting probably sometime in March, and I think that would give you adequate time to order the materials and everything for next school year. So we've typically done that when a new curriculum is going to be purchased. We include it as part of the budget just to see where we are.
Okay, so we can just table this for now then.
Is there any teacher training piece that comes with this?
There is, and I don't know what the total amount of days were, but I do believe we would like to do one day prior to our teacher in services in the fall. And then I believe someone would possibly come to us and watch the teachers in their classroom and possibly give some input then and help them as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll hang on to this then until budget time, and then we'll take action at that time. Okay, thank you very much. You've done an excellent job, as usual. Thank you. 11.0, Superintendent's Report.
I'm just curious as to if any of you will be attending the Rams dinner. Remember, that's next Thursday, January 31st, 5 p.m. social hour, 6 p.m. dinner. That's at the Hibbing Park Hotel. I have to call in the reservation.
Yes.
I think you responded
I
that
responded.
you were.
And yes.
Mary, Tom, are you going to be able to go to that? No? Keith, no?
No, I won't be
Mona,
able
do
to.
you know?
No.
I don't believe so. Okay, so Mary and Leon. And then I had sent you a letter about the education innovation session that's going to take place this Thursday from 5 to 7 at Valentini's, and I'm curious as to whether or not any of you will be able to attend that. Mona has replied that she'll be able to attend on Thursday. Anyone else able to attend on Thursday?
I can't make it.
No?
I can't.
No? Okay. And then for those of you who signed up for the Buildings and Grounds Committee, I'm going to be trying to set a meeting with the City of Evelyn for the week of February 5th. As you know, we have to discuss the HIP lease. So in terms of time frames, those of you who are on that committee, are you able to meet as early as 4:30?
What day of the week is
Well,
that?
I haven't picked a date yet. It would be the week of February 5th, so I have to get in touch with the city and see what day would work for them, get back to you and see if you'd be available, but I want a kind of a time frame. On the Buildings and Grounds right now, we have Mark, Leon, Keith, Mona, and Mary. Is 4:30 an okay time to schedule? Are you all available by that time of day?
I'm not available on Monday the 4th.
I've got a doctor's appointment on the 5th.
So 6th or 7th?
Well, I don't even know if they'll be able to meet them, but I'm going to try to do an off week from a board meeting is what I'm trying to do. And you can't do the 6th? Well, you know what, it's not important for the entire Buildings and Grounds Committee to be there anyway, because that has to be brought back to the board for approval anyway. So I'm just going to see what's available, and then we do have 5 people on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, so if we could get at least 3 people there, that would be good. About 5, on which day?
On the 5th. If everybody else can make it, or majority.
So I'll get in touch with the city and then I'll get back to you with regards to that. Okay?
Yeah, this has been hanging out there way too long. It's got to be taken care of.
Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay, board member topics. Start with Mona.
Just one item. I looked through the building emergency plans recently following some of the tragedies across the country, and I would like to say that I think our emergency plans are exceptional. They're put together well, they're, I think, very complete, The only thing I would suggest that we add to it, and I've already mentioned it to the superintendent, is now that we have our new phone system, we have the capability of recording incoming calls at some locations, at least our clerical staff and our administrative offices. And I'd like to include that in our emergency plans, that if an emergency call was to come into one of those locations, that we record it. Otherwise, I think they're very complete.
Okay. Anything else? Tom?
No.
Mary?
No.
Leon?
Nothing at this time.
I've got one item. We were down at the MSBA convention. I accepted this service award for Patty Babbage for 20 years of service. And unfortunately, Patty wasn't there. She was in Florida.
She's watching the weather.
And she was watching the weather. She's probably laughing the whole time. But of course, some of them on there comments, they wanted to know if I had, why I was accepting it for Patty, and it said, well, it wasn't because I had a change of gender.
The right time to get out of
It was just the right timing to get up there and everything else, but they were always giving me a hard time because I know all the people that were presenting. So, but anyhow, it was quite a thing for them. I know because I got mine last year, and it's quite an accomplishment. You might be getting yours next year. Yeah, so some of us do have a lot of time here. So some of us remember seeing some of the teachers here going across the stage when we were up there. So we've been here for a while. So other than that, I know we've been talking about the security in the schools, and I think I agree with you, Mona. Ours is in pretty good shape so far, but there's always improvement. I know I've talked to several law enforcement, and they said it's always been that no matter how hard you try and stop people from doing things, they will find a way to get around it. So all we can do is be prepared the best we can. So, and that's what we have been doing. So just to let all the parents know, we try. That's all I have at this time. A motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Thank you. Board members, hang around. We have interviews tonight
I wonder
for
if
the
we
rec
could
board.
call and see if those people can come early.